If you are going to start learning a new language,
Right.
is there a step or process and strategy that you are going to use in order to like learn it very, very fast or very efficient?
So I think we should not expect to learn a language very, very fast. I think we should try to enjoy the process. If we enjoy it, we will learn, we will stay with it. If we stay with it, we will improve, and eventually we will achieve our goals. So the main thing is to enjoy it. There are no shortcuts. I am very much in favor of input-based learning.
Right.
I might buy myself a little starter book, Assimil, Colloquial, Teach Yourself. And then at Link, I use our mini stories because they were designed with a lot of repetition of high frequency, especially verbs. So you hear the same content, different tense, different person, same words, more or less, the same context. And so typically I will listen to those, lots and lots of times. And so with the Arabic, with the Persian, where the writing system is so different, that kind of gets me a start in the language. And remember, I'm very much input based at the beginning. And then I try to find authentic content that I can use. So I can go to YouTube. And again, I tend to study at Link. So I'll find a YouTube video. I'll import it into Link. With Whisper AI, it's transcribed automatically. And then I can use that as a lesson. And if I only listen, I only understand maybe 25, 30%. But if I can read it and look up words in an online dictionary and gradually learn the words, then gradually I understand more and more. And so I sort of go through this process. And when I see that my known word count at Link is at about 5,000 known words, then I try to engage an online tutor so that I can speak with someone. And then not only can I speak, but I now have a person. I connect the language with a real life person, and that person can sometimes, usually point out things that I missed in the language about how the language works. And you start to like the person, so you want to show up again and show him or her that you've improved. So engaging with a tutor is a great thing to do.
Both of you will feel the sense of achievement throughout the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
How is your thought on active recall and spaced repetition and like applications such as Anki or Quizlet?
I'm not a big user.
Okay.
You know how the brain learns words? Like to learn a language, you need words, right?
Repetition, right? Repetition.
Well, brain research shows that actually what's more important than simple repetition is the variety of contexts where you meet that word, because of the way the brain learns. And there's all kinds of research now that shows they study how it reacts and stuff like that. And so to sit there and deliberately try to learn a long list of words sort of divorced from meaningful content, I don't think it's that useful an activity. So and you need so many words. Like I was looking the other day, I have 29,000 known words in Arabic. I have about 50,000 words that I have saved. So if I'm going to review all of those in Anki, I will spend all of my study time with Anki.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. So I find podcasts on YouTube that are interesting to me, and I listen to them, I read them, I watch the video in Link, I look up the words, and it's fun. So I enjoy doing it. I will review a word immediately after coming into contact with it. So if I'm doing say a podcast text at Link, and so sentence by sentence, so there's 3 or 4 words that are either new to me or words that I'm still trying to learn, I will review them immediately afterwards. So if you can review it immediately after coming across the word, I think that's helpful. But if you're going to review that word based on some theoretical, spaced repetition algorithm, I just don't believe in that stuff. And there's been research to show that repetition is good, of course. It's not as good as seeing it in a variety of contexts. But whether you space them regularly or space them based on Eppingheimer's curve of forgetting,
curve, right.
Apparently it doesn't make any difference. I mean, let's put it this way. There are contradictory studies. Some show that it's more effective to use an algorithm. Others show it's just the repetition. It really doesn't matter. However, I always say language learning is all about enjoying the process. So people should do what they enjoy doing.
What they enjoy, yeah. In my opinion, I do both. I also use the Anki, and I also expose myself to a lot of content. Yeah, so because I kind of believe the theory of forgetting curve and the algorithm, but I understand that we really should enjoy the process of learning a language, because if we don't, it's very easy to give up because it's a very long process.
Very long.
I have a question. How do you distribute your time? Like, because you know a lot of language, and if we don't practice, ability gonna diminish.
Okay. I spend all my time on the new languages. I don't spend any time refreshing or renewing. In my stronger languages, I'm not going to forget very much. Say the top 10, I'm not going to forget very much. I never speak Chinese. I never speak Japanese. Spanish, never, but it's there. It might, slip a little bit, but it's not going to slip very much. Those languages that have slipped, it wouldn't take me long to refresh them. So if I'm going to need them, if I'm going to go on a trip to Poland or to Czechoslovakia or whatever, Czech Republic, I'll refresh it ahead of time and it'll be right back there. So I don't worry about maintaining my languages. So how I spend my time, a fair amount of time is spent looking for content. And every so often you find these jewels, which I found on Arabic, in Levantine Arabic. So I was downloading MP3 files and then individually importing the MP3 files to Link, which creates the transcript. And so I was piling all this stuff into Link. And then I bought the book so that I can listen, I can read online, look up words, and then I can read on paper. But typically I spend most of my time listening, because it's the easiest thing to do. Typically, I'll listen first thing in the morning. I get up before my wife. I make breakfast and I'm listening. Make coffee. I clean up. I've become a model husband now because I do all these things around the house while listening to languages. But when you listen, there are lots that you miss. So that then sort of triggers my curiosity to read and look up words. Listening is the biggest because it's so easy to do.
Right. And you can do listening while you are doing other stuff, but
absolutely
speaking, reading, writing, you have to focus on it.
Yep.
Okay, so there are tons of videos and interviews out there on YouTube or on the internet where you talk about language. So I want to ask you something different, not about learning language.
Okay.
And you're 78 years old, right? And has been to many places, have seen so much of the world. So you're a man of full of experience. So for someone like me in their 20s or 30s, what's one piece of life advice you would give?
So with life in general or language learning?
Not language learning, because there are too many content of you talking about language.
The big thing is, if you have an opportunity to take a chance and do something, do it. Don't end up regretting 20 years later that you didn't do it. Just go for it. Go for it. Not something stupid, mind you, but whether it's in business, of course you have to think the thing out. You have to have a plan. And particularly when you're younger, you may not yet, I don't know if you have a family or not, but when you have fewer responsibilities, that's an opportunity to, go for stuff. And that would be the big thing. And also to keep an open mind. And another thing is, never burn any bridges. People, you don't achieve anything in life without other people. And so treat people with respect. And even if you have an unpleasant experience, just don't burn your bridges.
Okay. I really do agree with not regretting. So my YouTube channel is called 家俊的 YOLO 生活. So YOLO is like you only live once. But many people express YOLO as you just do something crazy or kind of foolish because you only live once. But to me, I think YOLO not only means this kind of thing, but also the opposite. Like when you have to take responsibility or when you have to work very hard, you also have to take responsibility and work very hard because you only live once. So I really do agree.
I agree. And you have to be responsible to yourself. That means that you have to know stuff. You can't just do something stupid. Like, even if it's a matter of adventure, you can't go climbing a mountain or skiing off a trail somewhere where you don't know the conditions, you don't know the trail. You can't start a business if you don't know the market, you have to have knowledge. And so it's important to learn, to always be learning things. First of all, the more you know, the more opportunities are going to come your way, and the better prepared you're going to be if you go and do something. You can't just be silly.
And you have created a lot of content, amazing and timeless content. So if people want to hear more about you, where can they find you?
Well, of course, Lingo Steve is my YouTube channel, and I have a lot of videos there, mostly in English, but some in other languages. And of course, everyone's welcome to come to Link if they want to learn languages. We have 45 languages. We even added Hindi, and I'm going to start Hindi maybe in May or something. I'll start Hindi. But so Link and Lingo Steve, the YouTube channel.
Okay, I'll put all of this in the description of the video.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah. I just want to tell you that the way you create content is very much like the way you speak.